So, do you guys want to know the story? I will tell you the story. I will tell you the story with no lies, no bullshit, no stuttering, nothing. And I will expose him for the liar that he is. Okay? I had approached him. Hey, what's up? You're kind of cute. And he was like, would you like to hang out? So, and I did this on Battle Cam, and there is an archive to prove that what I am saying is legitimate. So, okay, I approached him and I said, the only way that I will hang out with you is number one, if you have a car, and number two, if you are well endowed, because people on Battle Cam are not worth my time. And I will pull out that archive from my ass right now, and I will show that to you. Okay, that's number one. You use them all? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That was not all. I guess she's bored.
I said I'm going to stay here in the living room with you.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Okay. So here is what happened.
Yeah, well,
so like I said, I approached him, and the only way that I would hang out with him was if he had a car and he was well endowed. Okay? And so I guess he took that in a certain way, you know, and then it was the first day. The first date. And we stopped by the park after we had gone mini golfing after that vine that I had tasted. And we were standing there. And he was like, you know, hugging me and stuff. And he was like, all nervous because he had never touched a girl before. So I was like, go ahead, touch my boob. And he was like, oh. Then he touched my butt. And then he went to go touch that real fast. And I was like, oh, let's go. And then so in the car, the only thing he could talk about, and he wanted me to touch him. So I did. That was the end of that. So came another day when I told him, there came one point when I told him I didn't want to do it. I don't know if I could do it because I saw him as a friend, but we still went ahead and did it. Okay. There were times when I was sleeping and he would sit there and touch me while I was sleeping. When right before it happened, he started to get anxious because he was like, oh, I'm not going to pressure you into this. I'm going to be a virgin for the rest of my life. Okay, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Gosh, right. Besides a little bit of cellulite.
Okay. So, as I was saying, what was the last thing you guys heard?
No, it's not true. And people can vouch for me. Cellulite. Cellulite, everyone. Yeah. Yeah, listen. God, rats. It's not true. You can ask other people. Yeah. Sugar. Yeah.
Okay, so to start the story over, whenever he wanted to hang out, I was like, okay, you look kind of cute, whatever, and
wish I had my original account.
Okay, so we did that, and we went to the arcade. We went mini golfing, and then we went to the arcade and we played games. And after that, we had gone back home because it was almost time for me to go home, and we stopped at the park for a little while. And there we got out, and I smoked a cigarette. I was smoking a cigarette, and he comes out of the car, and it's like it was a nice date. I was like, oh, he's really nice, this, that, and the other, but it wasn't romantic. It was more of the fact that he just wanted me to take his V card. And he started to get really desperate. Desperate to the point where he sat down on me one time because he felt like he was going to be a virgin for the rest of his life because I didn't want to do that, because I didn't see him that way. It was a pity fuck. Okay? Number one, he was terrible at it. That is the truth. There were times when we would be laying down and I was sleeping, quote unquote sleeping, and he was touching me while I was sleeping. Okay, I let that slide because I felt bad for the kid. I knew he was a virgin, and I didn't really care. I didn't. So what else had happened? We hung out a lot. I won't deny that. He was my great friend. I saw him as a friend. I do have cellulite, and he has major pimples all over his face. Did I ever say anything about that? No. Did I ever complain about his appearance? No, I did not. No, I didn't. Everybody, I do have cellulite. I don't get it. I don't. So, that being said, when we went down to Wildwood, 4th of July, no, never doing that favor for anybody again in my life. Okay, so 4th of July weekend, we go down to Wildwood. He was there, in fact, and I have videos to prove, and pictures to prove that he was there with us. Okay, so that's the number one lie that he has been caught in. And I have Skylar to testify that for me. And I have my aunt to testify. She's a cop. I have her to testify that my stuff was not taken out of his trunk. As number two. All right. So 4th of July weekend, we go down. That was the first time I tried Molly. Whatever the fuck. I had a great ass time. I was gone. I was out of my element. I was in my zone. Okay. And I opened up to him and I told him the truth. I told him that I saw him as a brother. And that is it. That's it. So why he felt the need to handle this the way that he did, I do not know. I'm not a drug addict. I like to smoke weed. Excuse me. Molly, I tried it twice. Excuse me. I already said that I did. Drugs are bad, but who is he to judge? He's nobody. Waylon does say otherwise. He said I did acid, for Pete's sake. When in my life did I even touch acid? I mean, come on, bro. He's trying to make himself seem like the perfect person, but no. Okay, we went and we came back. And that night he couldn't stay at my aunt's house. Meanwhile, earlier that day, I had told him, go to the bank because you have no money, and what if we get stuck through the tolls or whatever? And had he heeded my warning and had he listened to me, he would have been able to go home, problem solved, whatever. And, okay, So we left off that Friday that he was going to go home right then and there, sort out his problems that he was having with his family real quick, and then he was going to come back on that Sunday, right? And I said, oh yeah, when you come back on that Sunday, I can wash my clothes. And he was like, okay. And when he got into the car, I was like, all right, I'll see you on Sunday. He was like, all right, see you. So Sunday rolls around, no Waylon, no nothing, nothing. I let that slide, and I was like, okay, maybe he's still having problems with his family, you know, and I didn't want to impose on that, so I let it go. And I hit him up on that Monday. I was like, hey, are you okay? You know, you were supposed to drive me home, because he was. And I get a text message, my car was stolen. What is between us is done. And then bam, I got a restraining order slapped on me. For what reason? The only thing I had asked for was my belongings. And he could have driven it to my mother's house, which was 10 minutes away from where he lived. He could have given her my car keys, my makeup bag, my laundry bag, and anything in that car that belonged to me. Did he? No, he did not. He decided to take the easy way out and call the cops on me and throw my stuff away. Now you tell me if that's a man. You tell me. Hey, Carissa. You can't go on there. Exactly, and he wants to sit here and say, oh, I did this, I did that, when in actuality, if he really did not want to do that, he could have said so. You know, he could have said so. Oh, and another thing was, that day that we were going to come back, it was July 5th, I was going to say, Carissa, you cannot be on here. I said, I'm going to stay here. And he started to get one of his little anxiety attacks because he needs medication for that every morning. I don't know if you guys know that, but he does. He started having one of his little panic attacks, and he was like, oh, I can't leave without you, like mad desperate. And like, he was like, I just can't. Why? Because he doesn't know how to fucking drive. He's a terrible driver. But I'm glad. If that is exactly how he felt about me, then he could have said it and he could have cut it down at the source. But no, he chooses to sit here and make up all these lies and all of this nonsense. For what reason? No reason at all. For the simple fact that he feels that he needs to justify himself because he is wrong and he knows that he is wrong. It was like, I think, a week or two after we had first met. So he lies, he sits here and he lies and he makes it seem like, oh, it wasn't a big deal, that was just another notch under my belt. Yet when he was with me, he was like, oh, I really care about you, I would do anything for you, I would do this, I would do that. When I'm around you, I have a clear mind, I can think straight, you know, to give me peace of mind, this, that, and the other. And like, why all of a sudden the change up? You know what I mean? He can sit here and he can lie to himself all he wants, but I know the truth. Twice. What's up? What do you need? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make dinner after I finish this picture. Huh? You want some Cheerios? You got Cheerios? Because you can't do it if you had a snack with before I came in. Isn't it? Isn't it? Thank you. Because that it was twice. Once, which was the first time, and the second time was when my mom was in Puerto Rico. And that was it. The most we did was cuddle after that. That was it. Because it was awkward. I got no satisfaction out of it whatsoever. Like, exactly. Because he knows he's wrong. He put a restraining order on me for what reason? Like, all of this could have been avoided right now had he just done the right thing, dropped myself off at my mother's house, along with my house key, which was in between the driver's seat and the passenger seat. I had stuff in the glove compartment, and my stuff was in the trunk. All right, all of this could have been avoided had he been an adult about this whole thing. Was he? No, he was not. But if he wants to say, oh, I love being the bad guy, then fine. I'm glad he spent as much money as he did with me. I'm glad. Perfectly fine with that. Because you can sit here and you can talk all this shit about everything, but he was there. If he didn't want to do it, he could have said, oh no, we're not going to do this. But did he? No, he did not. He's a person then. Mm-hmm. And make sure this haunts him for the rest of his life. The karma's going to catch up to him soon. He really is. I know he is. When that day comes, he's gonna wish he never met me. He's gonna wish. Yeah, no. And another funny thing, I was getting these phone calls from this phone number, right? And this phone number, I had recognized it because his mother had called my phone while we were down in Wildwood, right? And I was like, okay, this number, is that your mother? And he was like, yes. And I recognized the combination of phone numbers. So I called it back, and it went to voicemail. And it said, this is the LaGrangeville Police Department, whatever. Bullshit. I went online. I Googled LaGrangeville Police Department. I Googled that phone number. First off, LaGrangeville Police Department is in Georgia. Freaking Georgia. So why is a number from upstate New York calling my phone? And if there actually were a police officer, wouldn't they leave me a voicemail stating what that call was about? Wouldn't they? They would. So that is another lie that he was calling. Okay? He messed up. And that is it. And I am upset at the fact that I lost my two most prized possessions because he wanted to be stupid. He wanted to be an idiot. Like, if he wanted to get rid of me, fine. He could have just dropped my stuff off at my mother's house. Like, is it really that hard of a task to do? Is it really that hard? No, it is not. And then to sit here and lie and lie and lie and lie over and over again, no. What kind of a person is that? What does that say about him? Nothing. I was hurt at this. Because I sat here and I trusted him. And I saw him as a genuine friend. And obviously that wasn't the case for him. When somebody comes in his life and fucks him over 10 times harder than what he did to me. Moonshine. I don't care about Waylon anymore. I already told him what I have to say, and I addressed myself to himself. If he wants to continue to sit here and lie, and if that is going to make him feel better about himself, and that is if that is what's going to help him justify his actions, then he can go ahead. Oh man, boy.